June 4th, 2025. It's the Building Grounds and Transportation Committee meeting. Tonight, present for the meeting is Mr. Tate, our Facilities Director, Dr. Lehman, Assistant Superintendent, Ms. Boer, Ms. Fabiana, Ms. Sharma, and myself, Pete Hero. We're going to start tonight's meeting with our first item on the agenda, which will be the Applegarth Drive Grant Project update from Mr. Tate.
Yes, good evening. So the Applegarth projects, as you know, we are contracted for everything, and really right now kind of waiting for school to get out. So as soon as school lets out, we'll be moving in full force. The roof contractor has been contracted, he's ready to go. The electric contractor, as you know, has been ongoing for some time. And the HVAC contractor has mobilized. If you've been by the school, you see a lot of storage containers out there. That's the HVAC equipment ready to start installation. We've been doing some exploratory work in anticipation of, but it's really just wait till they get out the door and then we'll go full steam ahead. The electric, as you know, is the piece that we're waiting on. We have a meeting until June 16th from JCP&L. The transformer we're waiting on, and we're still with the late date for the delivery of the other components, which we are exploring other avenues to see if we can get some assistance, a way to expedite that. I spoke yesterday with Bill Costello from Epic, for the construction management company in the state. He happens to be a resident of the town and he heard about it. He offered to lend some assistance. But he did say on some of their larger projects, the same challenge. He said they have a project with a 14-month completion schedule and the delivery for their transformer is 17 months. So he said it's kind of an industry standard now that they're saying, but that they will do everything they can to assist us. So see where we go. Again, we'll continue to monitor and work on our plan B should be necessary.
You want me to give an update on plan B?
Sure.
So in working on a plan B, we've been exploring two situations. One of them being the Monroe Township Middle School with the trailers and utilizing the building inside, as well as an off-site location. We have a strong, well-vetted plan to utilize the middle school at this point. It would involve minimal impact on the middle school. It's natural, as we've discussed, the contraction of the middle school with the potential removal of the trailers. Delaying that removal of the trailers allows us to house a large portion of those Applegarth students. And we've worked, the building administrators have teamed together and developed a very, very thoughtful and thorough integration of the Applegarth students there. So that is one option if we need to head in that direction. And then, like I said, another one is an off-site location. It's a former school, and we've provided them with our expectations and our regulations and inspections that they would need to meet. We are in contact with them, and we're vetting both options. Our communication plan for our parents is going to be certainly by the end of the school year, hopefully sooner, communicate out the framework of what our plan B would be if we have to go down this road. Again, we're doing everything we can to not have to impact our students at Applegarth, but if we do, we will have a framework of this communicated, and we will have regular updates through the summer with any changes in terms of shipping dates and things. But just for the sense of comfort and assurances, we have a well-vetted plan right now that involves the middle school, using the trailers in the main building, which minimally impacts middle school students that are going to be there naturally, as well as we are continuing to vet out a secondary outside location.
Very good.
Hey,
Question?
I just had one comment. So, and it just supportive comment that I know that when we first came across the situation, middle school, Dr. Shanley had mentioned middle school, and I personally also had a huge holdback against that because I did not want any impact on our middle schoolers. But just, as Dr. Lehman just said, we were going to let go of the trailers that we are not going to let go of for the next 2 months, next 3 months. And the attrition, the enrollment has come down significantly. And given that we have even space in the main building, it's just, everything is, the stars are aligning in our favor. So this is looking very hopeful right now. So that was a comment. Thank you.
Okay. Next up on the agenda is the ESIP project update. I provided the committee members with a overview report that shows you our progress to date. We don't want to get a chance to look at it, but we primarily completed Lighting at Oak Tree, you can kind of see the before and after, we're about 95% done there. You know, Apple Garden next. We've also been doing the building envelope improvements. Barkley Brook will be wrapping up, I think, tomorrow. It's been going really well. David Soon from facilities is overseeing, supervising at night. You know, as soon as we got started, the first thing we did is the first couple of days is go into the teacher classrooms and ask them, hey, how was the light? Because it's a little different, right or not, and they were all very positive about it. So
Very nice.
so the clock is ticking on the money that we're saving now, because as Oak Tree is running, it's costing us a lot less.
A lot more money.
So things are moving along well with the lighting and building envelope. I mentioned in my weekly report last week that I attended the Township Planning Board meeting because there was a submission on our behalf for the canopies. They're scheduled to go out here at the high school. Those submissions are courtesy only, and that the planning board cannot rule yea or nay, but they ask very probing, informative questions. They want to make sure that our security staff coordinates with the police department in terms of the canopies in place, will lines of sight be affected, will our security cameras still get the full range of motion? So all that has been taken into account. They were supportive of the project. You'll see in this week's report, you may have seen if you can drive into town, we've had drill rigs out here, drilling geotechnical sampling for where the canopies are supposed to go to make sure the earth is stable, design is moving. So there's a lot progressing with that as well. So everything's moving.
That drilling was for the solar canopies? What canopies are those?
Yes, the solar canopy, the canopies go here in the parking lots.
Okay, that's good.
Okay, next up, we have lead and water testing.
Can I just comment on the ESA project? So I had a question, but before that, the light, I call it the happy light, honestly. I'm never a fan of yellow light, and I saw your pictures, and I've heard from people around, there's happy light in our classrooms, and just to see it in 2 schools is amazing. I'm really so grateful to see quick results on these easy wins. What is a building envelope?
So it's, in simple terms, it's
Insulate?
caulking, insulation, sealing, filling in cracks, door sleeves, those kind of things.
And so we're kind of inspecting the whole building, finding out opportunities and taking care of those.
So that was done in the preview. So we had engineering
Oh,
analysis.
so they already know where to go.
Yes, already know where to go. That's been contracted for, and that company has been coming in. If you leave here tonight and happen to go around the back of the building here, you'll see 2 storage containers that we have on the back lawn there. And that installation crew has started here,
Okay.
lighting coming in here, so it's.
So while I really like the report that we got from Honeywell that you shared, it doesn't say where we're going next. Like, it shows the progress, which is great. It showed what we worked on, but there's no, like, there's no, what are we anticipating next?
So-
Which building are we looking at next?
There is actually a schedule at the back.
Oh, all the way in the back?
Yes, the last page.
Okay.
A lot of it is
All
really,
that far.
the chillers, boilers, all that kind of stuff, that is really next year's stuff. So in design, as we know, those are 12, 14-month delivery for those kind of items. So that's where your big stuff's gonna happen. But we're on target through the end of the summer, early September, to have all the lighting done, all the building envelope stuff done, and get ready for the HVAC one.
Yeah, there's only scheduled till June though, right?
So it'll be a monthly report.
It's a month, okay.
So overall, we go out to 2026 when we get the chillers, and we'll know better once those orders have been finalized. So it's a design process first. So over the last couple of weeks, I worked with them on the boilers for the middle school. You know, we had a previous design done on that. We looked at load capacities, boilers today compared to the boilers in 1997 when those were put in, much more efficient. So we're able to scale down. Made some design revisions there. They're now in purchasing for that equipment. Once they've got their purchase orders issued and we get firm delivery dates, then we'll make that schedule.
Thank you.
Next up is the lead and water testing. This is a mandatory requirement, provided the committee with the 155-page report. And in very simple terms, the testing agency comes in, draws water samples from every potable water source in the district, every water fountain, kitchen, et cetera, and any that come in over the 15 parts per billion threshold, we then have to do remedial action. First step is to shut them off. So we had a handful of locations where we came in just above. So all those have been shut off. We've arranged for retesting, and that'll be happening shortly. They also missed some in their first round through. You'll see in the report saying could not find, et cetera. You may recall that in this year's budget, we had in for the replacement of a lot of water fountains with the bottle fill stations. So that work is ongoing. That's being done by our staff. So They went to where water fountain used to be, and there's a hole in the block wall right now because we're underway. So as that new stuff goes in, those things that are shown as not existing, will be taken care of. We'll get a second round of reports in. I think we'll be clear on this. None of them were, in my opinion, overly alarming. So I think we'll be in good shape. The process is Dr. Lehman has a letter that goes out to the staff at those buildings, providing all the data. The reports will be posted to the district website. All the information is there. Pretty straightforward. And the other process to this is one of the few things where when the state came out and said you had to do this, that they provided funding for it. So
Very nice.
as we wrap up, I have the first purchase order issued for what we've done to date. Now I've got to get orders in for the retesting, which is underway. At the end, I submit it all in August, and then we get reimbursed from the state up to X amount of dollars.
If, I have a question on the Mill Lake Auxiliary.
Mhm.
So like you said, they turn off the taps where they had, but of the 5 locations tested, 3 had an issue. So the 2 are only, so is there gonna be a shortage of, open locations? Is this the enrichment building?
Yes.
What is Mill Lake Auxiliary? Is that the enrichment?
Yes, it's the childcare.
So is there a shortage of outlets that they can use while we go through the second round?
No.
All right.
So in those situations, a lot of classrooms, you have a sink in the classroom that'll have faucet, but they also have a bubbler beside it.
Okay,
And you'll see in the report, some of them couldn't access or covered. What we found is that certain teachers in some of the rooms don't want the students accessing the bubblers because special needs students, so they had them cut off. So it'll show in the report as not being able to test was because the teacher doesn't want it there. So we're just going to remove those.
Yeah.
You might understand that. So everything that is in the master plan, when we did this is our 3rd time testing. So when you do the initial, and this came in 8 years ago, 7 years ago, we had to catalog the entire district. So we have a mastery summary of every potable outlet in the district. And then we work through that. So as changes happen, for example, you'll see in here, they couldn't find outlets in a certain room. Well, that is what used to be the photo lab. Some board members recall we renovated the photo lab into classrooms, so those things are no longer there. That's why they're shown as missing.
okay.
So the master report will,
Where is the field house?
by the football stadium.
What we use for concessions?
That
Is
is
that
correct.
called the field house?
Correct.
Okay. So, so there's 2 out of 6 there, so those would be closed, but there's still water available there
Yes.
to use. Okay.
Yes.
And what does a QA/QC blank sample mean?
Quality control. So for every X number of water samples they have to draw a blank, send in a blank. So it's their way of calibrating and validating what they do.
And the blank is not from that water source?
No,
Okay.
no.
Okay. Thank you. Those are all the questions I have. And we would get a second report within how many months?
Probably by July. So I've got them scheduled to come back out within the next week or so. We got a purchase order going through. They have to get a purchase order before they can come back out. So we have them rescheduled to come back and test the units that fail. And
your results so far are comparable to previous years, Mr. Tate?
it's gone down significantly.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, the very first year, for example, Dr. Landon knows what I'm talking about over Woodland School. We had one that went off the charts. It was like 1,200 or something.
Oh, wow.
It was a sink in a closet that hadn't been turned on in probably 40 years. It literally was just a storage closet and it was there from 40, 50 years ago. And the first time the guy turned it on, you know.
Of course.
So yeah, the first couple of years, obviously, it's turned down. And we also have put filters on the vast majority of outlets. For example, when we moved into Applebar School, it was closed for a year, we moved in, we put in filters which have a lead filter on it also on every single room, so you don't see anything pop up on Applebar.
And these water filling stations, they go through the similar testing?
Yes, everyone. Yeah, so if there's a water filling station, a bottle fill, and also a bubbler, both get tested. You'll see independent. That's why you'll see some locations listed twice. Water fountains where you have the ADA lower and higher, will say water fountain 12, water fountain 12, which means the lower and the higher. We test the ice from the ice machines. You have to draw a sample of the bag of ice, let that melt, and test that, because that can be consumed as well. So it's pretty long.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Next item on the agenda is the NJSID Safety Grant, which is the New Jersey Schools Insurance Group. Working with Ms. Allen, we applied for a safety grant. And received notice that we were being awarded grants in the amount of $28,143. So you'll see a resolution. I provided you a sample draft resolution that will be on for the next board meeting to accept the grant and start the process. I submitted for 2 projects. One is here at the high school. We have an issue with ductwork. It needs the woodworking shop in the back that is deteriorating, needs to be replaced, so it's a safety issue. And then we have fire doors over at Applegarth School in the 1936 building that the fire inspector identified as problematic, and we're going to replace those doors. So this might cover that. Yep, very nice.
Do we wait for the grant money to come before we start these projects?
Not typically, no.
So
So
is it-
it'll be a July 1st. So I had contracted prices for all this. So once July 1st, fiscal year steps in, we'll issue purchase orders. And some of this, takes a while to get, so.
The grant takes a while?
No, ordering doors, custom ductwork, et cetera. It'll take a few months to get. The check we usually receive September, October, and present you with your giant check. It's
Nice.
But our success rate is great with these grants, right? There's usually no issues.
done real well.
Mr. Tate's been amazing, the grants he's done this district over the years.
There's been a few big checks.
Yes.
So we don't have to worry about these projects, they will be taken care of, because they are needed.
And once you pass the resolution, I have to upload a certified copy to NJSIG. Once that, they authorize, okay, you're good to go. And then it's just an administrative process of issuing purchase orders, contracts, those kind of things, and very good fund check coming in. And that concludes the agenda.
Anybody have any questions?
Nope.
Anybody know, Ms. Orders?
So she sent me a message and said she was, best case scenario, gonna be running late, but there's a chance she was gonna be able to make it. So,
Okay, do you have any updates for us?
she's continuing to, put out, if we need to go up for, bids, which would be greatly reduced. Hopefully we don't need many at all. We'll be doing that on our own instead of going through ESCNJ, which we had done in the past, which saved us, money. She's been hiring, drivers and, preparing for ESY. So she's routing and scheduling and, getting bus drop-offs and pickups set up for ESY, which starts pretty soon after school gets out. So she's closing out this year, preparing for next school year, as well as managing the summer program.
Okay, and we would just like to have an idea of maybe the July meeting where we stand with buses.
Yep.
How many employees, just so we have an idea of if we're gonna have to contract any buses, how many and what's needed, how many routes.
Yep, definitely. Yeah, and I know we typically go through even still ESCNJ for some of our vans and things. But the traditional runs, her focus is to bring that down significantly, and she's already heading in that direction. But she's preparing as we get to the end of the year to execute that if we need to. So,
And part of that execution might mean new routes. And so better parents that are going to be impacted by that, so more proactive communication to reduce the beginning of the year confusion. There's gonna be confusion no matter what. But if we are going to be consolidating, I hope not consolidating, if you're hiring enough drivers.
yeah, no, there's no, I think it's just a matter of,
Just
do we have
being
enough
on
drivers? Yeah, enough drivers to cover what we have, yeah, yeah.
And the bus app.
I didn't get an update from her from the bus app yet, so that's something we can follow up with.
The pilot started,
Update on the bus.
the right spot, the pilot, yeah.
It should be at Mill Lake, but I know Mr. Meraldo was working, with Ms.
Okay.
Martyr on that, so.
Could you ask her to email the committee so at least we have an update on?
Yeah, if there's been any work on the
Sure,
pilot.
to see how that's working out, since
Yeah.
it's been like a month since they've been probably doing it, and I'd like to know if we're making any progress, do they like it, how's it working?
Or to hit roadblocks that prevented them from
Yeah.
executing it,
Yeah.
so.
Yeah.
Yep.
Either which way, it would be good to know what's going on with that pilot.
Yep.
I'm not sure, what was it, did they say when they would start the pilot?
They were looking, the execution of that was post spring break.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it should have been some time.
Break, so it should be going on.
Yeah, yeah. Any update would be good.
We get an update on that. Anybody else have anything, any comments, questions? No? All right, Mr. Dave, everybody, thank you.
7:05.
Breath.
Thanks, people.